Okay, this is the types of play that I was just mentioning a couple slides ago, putting the name to it. So, solitary play, I'm playing by myself, unaware of other kids. Onlooker play, I'm watching you, I'm aware that you're in the room, but I'm still across the room playing on my own. Parallel play, maybe I'm sitting closer to you, I'm definitely playing with a similar toy to you, but we're both playing dolls, but we're not playing together. Associative play, I'm interacting with you, I'm watching you, I might share something with you. If I see you have you're building blocks and you need another block and I have access to it, I might give it to you, like, oh, you need this. But we're still not really playing together. I'm just more, we're just kind of in the same space. And then cooperative play is when children play together, they create a joint activity, they take turns, maybe there's role playing, whatever this looks like. And then they do mention that there's more age variation than in 1932. Should not be a surprise because what play looks like is different now than in 1932. Even just 20 or 30 years ago, a parent would say to a bunch of kids, go outside, don't come back until it's dinner time, go have a ball with your friends. And so play, and now it's much more solitary, it's confined to the house. Um, Largely, it certainly depends on where you live. And a number of other things. But the what play looks like, I would say, for most people, has shifted quite a bit in the last 20 or 30 years. So I mean, this is pretty obvious. Playing with your peers is a very important area. You develop really good social skills when you're playing with other people. You're learning cooperation. You're learning really some of those, again, like social rules that you'll take throughout your life. Um, these kids, yeah, are one is 8, the other is 11. They're they're a little bit older, so they're not kind of doing that self-absorbed play of the younger kids. They're playing together. They are engaged in cooperative social play. You can do solitary play or social play. So on your own or with someone. And again, what that looks like is even changing because it's very likely that these two boys could have just as easily been in separate households, but they're playing a game together, the same video game in the same time, with the same goals and things, but they're just maybe in separate parts of the country or something. So it's really interesting just to see how technology is kind of shaping kids these days. I think we'll better understand the use of technology in the next, decade or so. Rough and tumble play is really good for kids to kind of understand um, the line between play and too far, because it can really get out of hand pretty quickly. Um, Males are more likely to do rough and tumble play, particularly with their dads or with other males. Um, but it's typically rough, so it mimics aggression. But there's no intention to harm. That's what I'm saying. There is a You kind of learn where the line is between playing and too far. Um, there is an increased likelihood of injury. They do think it is beneficial for kids to play like this, but again, it just depends because also I think there are some ways that we socialize boys that don't let them kind of get out their emotions and things. I've recently been told about a video. I haven't seen it yet, but I think it's called The Mask We Live In. The Mask You Live In. That talks more in depth about how we socialize boys, and kind of the detriment it is, saying, you can't cry, you can't have these emotions. Well, then aggression becomes that emotion, and we'll talk about this more probably when we get to like adolescence. Pediatricians, psychologists, and teachers all report extensive research that screen time reduces conversation, imagination, and outdoor activity. Overall, the American Academy of Pediatrics recommends no more than an hour a day of any screen time for preschoolers and suggests that supervision prevents violent or sexual media, avoiding racist and sexist stereotypes. However, many young children watch more than recommended unsupervised, not only in the United States but also in other nations. There's 4 caregiving styles, 3 that Baumrind initially came up with, and then a 4th that we'll talk about. And we'll look at these differences on the next slide. So 4 types of caregiving. We talk about 3 here. Authoritarian parenting, which is high on control and kind of low in warmth. So this type of parent is generally my way or the highway, boot camp, drill sergeant type of parent. These are the rules. You will do it because I said so. And that's kind of how they generally parent. Permissive parenting is more high on warmth, kind of lower in control. So I love you, let me give you all the things. What do you want? What can I get for you? Oh, you want the new pair of Jordans? Let's go get those. Oh, you need the new iPhone because it came out today? Yes, let's go get that. Without really having a lot of otherwise structure or kind of rules around. Authoritative parenting is kind of high on love and warmth, but there's also some discipline, boundary, structure, and control. So kind of a balance between the two. I think this is really kind of seen as the gold standard, although I would say you may be in one day, one the next day. It's not you're all or nothing. You're only this kind of parent, or you're only that kind of parent. And then the 4th type of parent is the neglectful parent, which is kind of low on warmth, but also low in control. So they're just not around. And that could be physically, that could be mentally, that could be a combination of both. I think just because you're not physically around isn't necessarily a sign of a neglectful parent, but if you're mentally also checked out and not around, that certainly helps. You can be physically present but not mentally there. If you're constantly distracted by your phone or work or something else, I think the key here is, when you are on kid time, be on kid time, and be present and aware. I think there's more information on your book in table 6.1. I guess I'll really focus here on the child's contribution to the parent-child relationship. It's certainly how the parent responds to the child is really sometimes dependent on that child. If they have a temperament where they're kind of always on edge or kind of angry or something, that certainly is going to affect how the parent responds. If they have excessive needs for some reason, or whatever the child has going on, it can certainly affect how the parent responds and reacts to the child on a regular basis.